Not all conflicts need mediation. There are a lot of tools that you can use to learn to communicate your needs, and to listen to other people about their concerns that will allow you to solve the problems yourself.
So sometimes during mediation or mediation training, we do a role play where we ask one of the parties to pretend as if they were the other party and step in the other person's shoes. And sometimes it really leads to an awareness that they hadn't experienced before. What do you want this other person to most understand about you in this situation? So it leads to really a much deeper understanding of what is driving the person and what their interests are, and what might be helpful for them to be able to reach some resolution in this.
The reason I'm late is because I get paid on the second Wednesday of the month.
I would want to remind you of the lease that we both signed, that you wouldn't have a pet.
My pet is really important to me and gives me a lot
What
of
is
comfort
your
and
definition
feeling
of
protected.
like wear and tear versus actual damage?
They charged us for the floor that was stained, but it was already stained when we got it.
I just think that because I made a maintenance request and complained, I got a notice about a complaint against me now.
I just wanted to be heard. I just wanted to know you were hearing me.
So in the process of doing role reversals, we have an aha moment. Oh, I get it. I understand why it's important for you to have me respond in less than 24 hours. I really get it that timely submittal of my rent money is so critical to your being able to fulfill your own financial obligations. That might not have occurred to either of those parties had they not had an opportunity to walk in each other's shoes and think about it from the other party's interests and needs.
Yeah, there's different expectations from the renters and the landlord's point of view.
Human relationships and lives are dynamic things. My experience is that I may find a person who I think is going to be a great tenant. And people have jobs, and then they get sick, and then they don't have jobs. People's lives are going really well, their relationships are stable, their family support is stable, and then something happens and it's not. That then affects their ability to show up as a tenant and meet their financial obligations.
If you're a renter and you are having issues with your landlord, knowing where they're coming from is incredibly important. If you know that your rent payment is how they pay their mortgage, you're more likely to pay it on time and to be conscientious of the fact that they have a deadline to meet as well for their payments. If you are a landlord and you're having issues with a tenant, if they're not paying on time or they can't maintain the property to your standards, being able to have an actual conversation with that tenant or that landlord is incredibly important.
The empathetic response to changing conditions, again, communication. While I lost my job, while my dad was helping my mom or my parents or someone in my family was helping me pay rent, this has changed. I've had tenants who were receiving student aid and they were transfer students to HSU, and their grades suffered because they had to work because they didn't have any family support. And so their grades dropped, they lost their financial aid, now they're behind in rent. Now we have to sit down and strategize. How can we work together so that you can keep the apartment while you get through this difficult time? And what's your plan? And what does that look like? And can you, and let's have that conversation so I have the opportunity to listen and make a decision of whether or not I believe in what your plan is. And you have the opportunity to formulate the plan and stand behind it, so that we both bring dignity to that process.
If you can be real and have effective communication just between that direct relationship, you don't have to bring in a third party, a mediator, get the police involved.
Part of what we teach in Humboldt Mediation Services is that conflict is a normal part of life. It's not something to be afraid of or to avoid, and when you reach a place of conflict, excuse me, such as might happen in a tenant and landlord relationship, that the best thing to do is just you think carefully about what your particular role is. What am I contributing to having a conflict situation with this person, and what my interests and needs are, and what I think might be the interests and needs of the other party. And that may lead both of us to a better understanding of what we could use to help each other through the conflict. Humboldt Mediation Services is just one source of helping people reach that level of understanding, but if people have a better self-awareness and some tools that they can use, they can work things through on their own too.
There are tools that Humboldt Mediation teaches in some of the communication classes, and you can certainly use those to resolve conflicts or even to prevent conflicts by addressing concerns before they get bigger.